Passion. It's probably the most overused word in online copywriting, but what can an 18th century violinist teach us about it? Hello and welcome to your content boosting video tip of the week from Captain, helping you plan, direct and perfect smartphone video content to engage your audience and enhance your brand. Now, the violinist Niccolo Paganini was pretty much the world's first virtuoso rock star. His musical skills were matched only by his hedonistic behaviour and sexual appetite. Add to these his unnerving physical appearance, strikingly tall, abnormally long-fingered, wild, sinister eyes, and many people concluded he must have sold his soul to the devil himself in exchange for his prodigious musical talent. Now in reality, yes, the fella had a lot of talent, but he also practiced relentlessly 7 hours a day. But why let that get in the way of a good legend? More importantly, what has any of this got to do with your video content? Well, there's a very simple quote from Paganini, and it struck me as a useful way to think of any creative endeavour, especially these days online, be it video or otherwise. In order for the audience to feel deeply, the musician himself must first feel deeply. Now, if you Google that quote, I don't think it'll come up. It's in a biography that wasn't digitised and I can't now locate, but I'm pretty sure I didn't imagine it. Whether it's real or not, it makes total sense. If you're putting out content that you're not excited about, then how can you expect your audience to be excited about it? Now, in my previous life as an animator and a videographer, I spent a decade making videos for other companies. Some of those companies could be perceived as cutting edge and exciting, but most could not. What I learned was, as long as the clients themselves were truly passionate about what they were doing, it resulted in excellent, effective content, regardless of the subject matter. And the reverse is also true. It didn't matter how snazzy a service was or how much I jazzed up the edit. If the DNA of a project didn't come from a genuinely passionate client, then the videos just didn't ring true. That's a relatively simple way of looking at it, and it's pretty much taken care of in one of our previous tips about authenticity. That's about how anyone can say they're passionate on their website, and it gives you practical tips to prove it. But Captain's all about user-generated content and helping you make it. So let's take a different angle for this one. Let's say you're trying to gather video contributions from multiple different people you'll never meet in locations you're never going to visit. Let's assume that they're passionate people and you want to make sure that that comes across. But let's also assume that these folks aren't used to being on camera and many of them might not be confident doing any filming at all. So how can you get around that? How can you obtain that video contribution from someone but still retain and capture that critical element of passion, that frisson of passion? Now, we talk in even more detail about this in our 3 Golden Rules video series. It pretty much makes up the entire second rule, but for now, the main thing to remember is this. You need to completely remove the creative and technical burden from the contributor. So that's it. Pretty simple, right? Well, yes and no. That creative burden has to be shifted somewhere, and for really great results, you can only shoulder so much of the load. You need to come up with a specific set of filming tasks and questions, but then ideally you need to give those tasks to someone else at the location and not your passionate contributor. Because yes, we all love selfie videos, kind of, but A, they don't always look great, B, it adds a bit of extra pressure to the person doing the filming and the talking, and C, it's tough if not impossible to get shots of yourself in action. Far better to have a pal or a colleague do the filming and ask any questions. That leaves the subject free to be their passionate selves and offer honest, authentic responses without worrying about the technical and creative burden that is inevitably present to some degree when creating user-generated video. The real moral of the story is that if you can crack this approach remotely, you'll want to be searching for and identifying passionate people in your organization or your client base and hearing from them regularly. As I mentioned earlier, the difference that having passionate contributors makes to video content really cannot be overstated. So there we have it, in a roundabout way, calling from beyond the grave, Niccolo Paganini has made us think in a little more detail about how to persistently package passion properly. Not his words, they were my words. But if you'd like to see how the Capture Captain app makes it incredibly easy to set filming tasks for remote contributors, then get started now. And if you'd like to learn in more detail how to remotely manage video contributors, check out our free 3 Golden Rules video series and project planner. I'll see you next time. Until then, this is Captain helping you plan, direct and perfect smartphone video content to engage your audience, to enhance your brand, and yes, to inject a little passion into proceedings.